Yeah, we're gonna keep this rolling. No time to waste. Appreciate y'all for sticking with us. We just started a couple episodes for you guys, having some good conversations about some of the issues with the league in regards to also we're gonna just pass and trying to fix that. We also talked about load management across the NBA and how some solutions will be presented and how to fix that. But now getting back to the fun things and what's going on in the league that we enjoy, the actual game and the product going into the last half of the season. Very excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Lakers are pushing still. Kings are up in the standings still. All these fun stuff is going on. Very excited to talk about it. We made a tier list for you guys too. We're going to start placing teams in certain positions based on how we think they're actually going to play going this last half of the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, excited to jump into it. So we're going to do this intro real quick, and then we're very excited to share this tier with you guys. So appreciate all the love again, as always, for y'all sticking with us. Like, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff for us. And yeah, let's jump into it, man. It's going to be a fun one. All right, so as you see, we jumping straight into it. No time to waste. So very excited to share this tiers with you guys. Just made it today for you. I'm looking at contenders and pretenders in the league right now, as well as just ranking everybody across all the NBA and placing them accordingly as we have these 5 categories. Up top, we have the Day for Real category. Those are the legit contenders, the team that we think are really going to be pushing for a title this year. We have the If category, who are the borderline contenders. If they stay healthy, then maybe those type teams. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a few of those. There's the LOL you thought section, the teams that are kind of in the middle that might have a chance to push for a ring, but probably not going to happen. Also, I wanted to add it in. My apologies, and I'll add this in real quick. We're going to have the one and done section for the teams that are in the playoffs. Actually, we'll talk about it. You want to add in the one and done? One and done is kind of in that same LOL you thought kind of section. The teams that in the playoffs, but not really, we don't really view as a real threat. So we may add the end there. But for now, we'll leave that out.
Yeah, so, I think it falls in LOL you thought.
Yeah. I think that works as well. Yeah. So we'll leave that as is then. We also have stuck at the crossroads. It seems that the borderline play-in teams, the borderline playoff teams that could keep pushing to get in there and be official, or could tank and end up down in the last segment. We want Wemby. For those that are aware of the topic in the next draft, Victor Wembanyama is the top prospect. Everybody is raving as the next great player in the league. There's definitely others that we know, Scoot Henderson and all of that, but Wemby is all the hype right now. So we want Wemby for the tanking teams right now who are at the bottom, clearly positioning themselves for a high draft pick. So good stuff here. And Alec, let's jump into it. You want to start at the bottom or at the top?
I think let's start at the bottom. And I was going to say, too, I feel like the Lakers need their own tier. Like they need I don't know what exactly they are, because they could fall in like 3 of these for me.
I went through it myself a couple times after I made it, and I kind of kept shifting them around. So it's very possible that they end up all over the place in here. So
they're a wild card.
Starting at the bottom though, let's go ahead. Let's put the Rockets down there. Correct.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put the Hornets down there.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Let's go ahead and put the Spurs down there.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and put the
Pistons, I believe.
Pistons down there.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's a few teams that could be down there.
Magic are pretty close to that too for me.
They're close to that, but they're not tanking. They have a good core in regards to Paolo. They have Franz. They have they are. I'm just blanked.
Look at the standings real quick. Yeah, they're 24 and 35. So they're still within playing range. They're 4 games.
They're not. I want to say they're tanking again though. That they're trying to win games. They don't have enough talent yet. So I think they're more at a crossroads spot than a tank. Correct?
I think so. I don't know what their draft position is like for next year, but they're pretty close to we want Wemby though.
It'll be lottery for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be high. I think it'll be 8, 9, 10, one of them type picks.
Right. Okay.
So
and they're at a crossroad.
I think that's the first team we'll put in stuck at a crossroads.
Which kind of makes sense because they have a lot of young guys that are so yeah.
They just look at RJ Hampton, who we thought was a promising guy, but clearly things didn't work out there. So is what it is. But they're trying to figure out how all these young guys are going to work together, if they're going to keep adding more young guys or try to finally push for some vets to add to the team and really make them the next jump in this team's progress.
Finally traded Terrence Ross.
Yeah, right. Finally, after all these years, but so be it. So now continue to move on there. Other teams that are kind of stuck at the crossroads.
Thunder.
What was I just thinking of? Oh, the Hawks are there. They just let go of their coach. They have Trae Young, they had Deontay, they had John Collins, they had Capella. They have a lot of good pieces there that just haven't worked out. And there's rumors that they may blow it up. There's rumors that they may try to make some big adjustments this offseason, but they have not been as we thought they would be this year or since that run that they made a couple of years ago. And then they're definitely stuck at a crossroads right now in regards to what they want to do with their team. So not full tank. They're not going full Wemby just yet because they do have pieces there. But they're definitely at a crossroad at this moment.
Yeah. I was saying the Thunder as well. I don't see them falling any higher than this because I don't think they really thought that they were playoff contenders like that. They're still competing, but they're also kind of potentially in a position to make a trade for Wemby to draft Wemby next year too.
But they're in a position to do that even if they play good. I think they have talent there that wants to continue to play good games, and they may pull themselves into thinking that they are a decent team. So I put them in the LOL you thought section, but I can see either way because I don't think they're.
Well, if that's the case, do you think there should be another tier between LOL?
That's what I was saying. So I don't fully think they're at a crossroads anymore. They know where they're going, but they just aren't fully up to the legit squad that they may believe themselves to be just yet. So that's why I thought there should be kind of one more middle.
So do you want to just play in essentially? I don't know what you would label that, but play in level teams, in between LOL you thought and stuck at a crossroad.
Yeah, no, I called it before. I called it one and done.
I don't even know that they're one and done. I don't know that they're a playoff team. That's why I'm.
Well, they're one playing game and done. Whatever. They're one and done in some kind of way.
Fine, okay.
So yeah, I'm fine putting the Thunder there. And
the Hawks would go there too then for me, but they are kind of stuck at a crossroad as well. So
while standing wise, they technically are one and done. I think because of their organizational situation, as I said, with coaches being fired and the team not meshing they thought they would, and being very much more underwhelming than we thought they'd be. I think they're much more at a crossroads right now than they are in the one and done. They are one and done technically, but I think section wise they fit more at a crossroads. So I'll leave them there. Anyone else down at a crossroads right now?
I would say the Blazers.
I was gonna think the same thing.
Yeah.
With Dame there, they can continue to buy into the right now and try to find ways to win as they tried to do this year, adding in Jeremy Grant and things like that. But they haven't able to put together quite yet. And it could be we're finally maybe reaching the point where they say enough's enough and it's time to fully rebuild and let's go ahead and drop down or move on from Dame to find some other young pieces to rebuild this thing in a new way. So definitely stuck at a crossroads right now. So
I saw another team that I thought was there.
In the same lane, I'll put, I think the Wizards are right there as well, correct? Are the Wizards down low in the standings, right?
They're 9 right now, so they're in play-in contention.
But yeah, they're definitely set. That's a crossroads type thing with them as well. Same thing as the Hawks, though. They have pieces there that could continue to build for the future, but they haven't produced a contender level team yet with what they have. So I think they're at a crossroads, even with the success they've had this year.
I think the Bulls are there too, with Lonzo being out for the season and his injury concerns, and then Levine, Vooch, and DeRozan. I believe some of them, if not all, are going to come off the books soonish. So figuring out which of the veterans they want to keep or whether they want to go full rebuild or what. I think the Bulls are there. There was one team I was looking at that I saw.
There's a couple teams that I could throw in one of these segments. There's the Raptors down there. There's the Jazz.
The Raptors I wanted at a crossroads too. They did make a move for Pirtle at the deadline, which seems like they want to play it out with their vets right now. But they were in the discussion for a lot of their pieces potentially being trade targets between Gary Trent, OG, maybe Scotty. So teams look at them like they may be at a crossroads and may have hit their ceiling already.
I was thinking the same thing, but to your point about Pirtle, I think them going and getting Pirtle was showing that they're not at they believe they're not at Crossroads, and they think they could keep this core and continue building it. I know it hasn't panned out as they hoped post their title run they made with Kawhi a few years back, but they have the core there already. They just have to continue to improve. So it's not fully at a Crossroads. I say they're more so just in the one and done situation this year.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think?
I think they should.
They're probably going to be a playoff team, maybe first round exit. But like after that, you don't think they make a move in the offseason?
They're gonna make a move. I don't think it's gonna be a full blow up. They're not gonna be tanking down to Wemby and that type of thing. So I think they may make a move, but they're not gonna completely blow up that whole squad. They have pieces that they could keep for a long time.
So one and done, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
One and done there. The Jazz, are they sitting at Crossroads? Are they tanking? What do you think of the Jazz in this situation right now?
They might be a little bit at a crossroads just because they don't know if they're tanking or trying to compete for the playoffs.
I think they were supposed to be tanking, but seeing how Laurie came in and started doing things, they're like, oh, okay, we actually have some guys already. So now they have to figure out what they want to do. So because they're still very low in the standings still, I think they're at the 10th spot that we're trying to get to at this point. They're borderline. They aren't fully tanking. But I think it's more so at a crossroad than, I think that's the perfect spot for them. So,
and then what would you say for Indiana?
Indiana,
they're currently sitting at 12.
I think Indiana, oddly, though they are very low in the standings, I think they, I guess technically would be at a crossroad because they're not in the playoff to be one and done. But based on this, they'd be one and done in that they have the core there. And they have shown that they have pieces that want to stick around. They were supposed to trade Miles Turner and Buddy Hield and pieces like that.
They extended him.
And they extended him because Miles saw the potential with Tyrese and Ben Mather and all those young guys that they added and saw a future there. So it's just not clear that they're going to be blowing things up.
Yeah, but I don't think they're good enough for one and done. Actually.
Right. So technically they're stuck at a crossroad, but I think they've established that they're going to be who they are for a little while. So
I think that's the last. of stuck at a crossroad.
I think so too. One and done teams. I think the Nets this year, because of the moves they made, they'll get in the playoffs. They aren't going to last very long. Though salute to you guys that do have there. I like them. I like Mikal Bridges, all those guys. So salute to them. Sadly,
the Wolves. Yeah, the Wolves.
Yeah, the Wolves are going to be there as well. I think the Knicks are right there as well. And they might even be.
I think they're LOL you thought, because they've been playing. They've been playing pretty well, but I think it will end a little shorter than they expect. Maybe.
Correct.
Who else one and done?
One and done.
I think the Kings are a first round exit. I'll be honest. So I don't know if you want to put them LOL you thought or one and done though.
They might be an early exit, but they have shown that they really want to compete this year.
No, they want to, but the West just got pretty stacked as far as top end talent.
Well, I think
the Suns and the Mavericks,
the teams here we have right now, I think are clear one and done teams. The Kings can put up at least a fight, and I think are more so.
LOL you thought.
See, I think they're more of an LOL you thought team this year.
That's fine.
They might fool themselves into thinking that they're better in this scenario than they are. So there's that. We've skipped the Lakers since we brought the Kings. The Lakers, where you want to put them at? You want to
like I'm saying, I think they're LOL you thought. I think they're one and done potentially. I really do not know.
Crossroad, they're all.
I don't know if they're at a crossroad. I think the trade deadline.
If they had kept Russ past the deadline, they wouldn't have at a crossroad. But because they haven't, they might have saved themselves from that situation. But yeah, they're definitely in one of those middle three. The LOL you thought, one and done, they could fit anywhere there. So
they're somewhere between if and LOL you thought for me.
They're not one and done to you?
Because they're always a big question mark of if LeBron and AD stay healthy. But it could easily be a LOL you thought because AD doesn't stay healthy and they don't win as they should. So
you've been you stuck with full Lakers this year. So I'll let you make that pick. Where would you like to place them?
I'm gonna be safe and say LOL you thought. Just I don't believe in AD at this point. Like, he's got to show me again. He's got to show me 2020 again.
I'm fine with that. So we'll put them there. Let's go ahead and flip sides in the arena. The Clippers, who have a similar situation, are they a for real team, or are they LOL you thought as well, even with the addition of Russ and Bones Highland and people that they added at the deadline?
I think they're like the perfect encapsulation of if to me. Like, if this fit works, as I think a lot of people think it will be a better fit than it was with the Lakers.
For sure.
And they were missing a point guard. I think there's ifs there because of the sporadic nature of Russ at times, like in closing moments or that kind of thing, and how they're going to utilize him, what Ty Lue decides. So it is a big if adding him. It was already an if beforehand because of what we've seen Kawhi and PG do in the playoffs at times. But then we also saw PG compete with the team without Kawhi and go to the Western Conference Finals too. So I think they have a lot of firepower. I like the moves they made at the deadline, getting Plumlee and getting Eric Gordon, getting Bones Highland as well, who might fall out of the rotation a little bit. I think they have a pretty solid team of depth. It's just going to be figuring out the rotation and closing games, closing series. But that's why they're an if, because the talent is there to me.
I agree. They're the perfect if team for this one. So, yeah, I fully agree with all you said there. To your other thing, your third team, kind of, the Pelicans, where you would put them, because they started very hot and hadn't panned out because of interesting things for this last half of the season.
I think they're LOL you thought, unfortunately, because I'm not laughing at them, but it's just been rough with Zion. He had another setback, which I think is going to be another few weeks before he gets reevaluated because of his hamstring. They have talent on that team. They have a good coach. But if your star player isn't going to be there, they can get through. I think they can get through a round, but that's about it that I can see without the continuity and without Zion being at 100%. It's just tough how that's shaken out for them because I think a healthy team, they're a top 4 seed in the West. But injuries have hurt them. So I'm gonna say LOL you thought.
I agree. I'm with you there. And now let's look at the last these teams that are left. A lot of these teams we look at and very well could be contenders. And the Warriors, we'll get to them in a second. But outside of them, the one team I look at like y'all don't actually fit here low key is the Heat. I think the Heat actually don't belong.
I think they're LOL you thought.
Yeah, in regards to, I think the rest of these teams can be in the top 2 tiers, the they for real or the ifs. But I think the Heat this year have shown that they are more than just a piece away. And while they have Jimmy Butler there, who's great, while Bam is still there, Harold shows flashes still, and as the piece that he is, I still think that I don't think Kevin Love's going to save them with that addition that they made at the deadline, and that there's going to be much more improvement in comparison to the rest of these teams in order to be a contender again. So I have the Heat as the last team of the LOL you thought group there. I guess the interesting one here now, we look at the rest of this group that could be top tier. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. The Suns would have easily been LOL you thought for me, but they traded for Kevin Durant.
Right. They saved themselves. I understand. We'll get back to them. But to the team that seems to get in their way often, the Warriors. What do you think of the Warriors? Where they fit in all this?
They're a big if. Like, if Steph is healthy, we know what that 5 can do. That 5 can win a championship. I think regardless of the trade that was made by Dallas and by Phoenix, it's a proven well-oiled machine when they're healthy.
Even as much as they've fallen this year, because they're down, they're at like an 8-9 seed, I believe, right?
Right. I think who is it? The Grizzlies would hate to see them in the first round once again.
Sure.
I think the Nuggets would hate to see them in the first round too. So it's about health for me, because I think if Steph is healthy, they have a proven track record at this point. Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins been sensational. Looney has been great for them. Jordan Poole is an emerging star as a 6-man or a starter. I think they have the pieces to compete once again, but it's an if because they got to be healthy.
Very, very much so. So we talk about the Warriors, team they played in the finals a few times, who are now back in contention a little bit. The Cavs, where you have the Cavs this year, are they an if team? I couldn't really figure out because I don't know what their if is, but I don't really have them as a for real squad either.
They're not one and done, I don't think, but they're kind of. I think they're a second round exit. The Cavs, because I think like
what's missing
in the standings. experience for one, and that can be arbitrary, you may say, but I think playoff experience matters. So that a season under their belt of going to the playoffs, I think, is going to help. They have the two guard, the wing scorer in Donovan Mitchell. They have good distributor in Darius Garland who can score himself. Got good defenders. I don't know. It's just they're just a little bit young to me. That's really the main thing. There's teams with more talent and deeper, who have gone deeper and who have a little bit more depth. So maybe it's a couple bench guys to shore out that rotation for the Cavs. I think like Jay Crowder would have been great for them, but the Bucks got him.
So I guess we'll say if they had more experience, I guess we put
the so maybe they're an if. Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Because I'm like they're a very good team. They're a top 4 team in the East right now. They've been good all season long. Haven't had any major injuries either, as I can think of. They've tried to figure out Kevin Love's situation, but it didn't work out and let him go, and still have guys that can replace him and trip up nicely. So they're definitely a legit team, but it still somehow feels like they're not as good as the rest of these squads that we see at the bottom of this list here. So we'll see what can get them over the hump potentially this postseason. But I'm fine with them being in the if segment.
You may not like this, but the Grizzlies are LOL you thought to me.
I can't do that.
I know you can't, but we've had this similar conversation in previous years about the Grizzlies as well. I like more so too because Ja had made that "I'm fine in the West" comment, and now the West is loaded. But I think they think they're the best in the West, and they're maybe third best in the West right now.
Third best in the West is still very, very commendable. When I did this before, when I did this
that commendable award at the end of the season.
When I had first made this after I put it all together, I put Grizzlies in the They For Real section.
No, definitely not They For Real. I could see if.
I hear you. So I guess that's what the middle ground will be. If they had more experience, if they were more humble, wherever you want to put your if as, because I know you have viewed them in certain ways.
It's not even about them being humble. I think they're not as good as the other teams. I like the Suns more than them. I like the Clippers more than them in a matchup. I like the healthy Warriors more than them. I'd probably take the Nuggets over them, the 1 seed. The Mavericks are an if team, which we'll talk about in a sec, but I like the Mavericks too. They're like competitive with all those teams, but I would slightly favor the other ones.
So you have them equal to the Knicks and the Kings and Lakers and all of them?
I don't know that they're equal. I think they'd be leading the LOL you thought. I think they're better than the Kings, the Knicks. They can be better than the Lakers. I think they can be better than the Pels and the Heat.
I'm gonna give it to you, but
like I said, I can level with if. I can level with if, not They For Real, but I can level with if.
We'll put them here for you for now. And once we finish, we'll revisit it and look at what teams might be out of place.
Okay.
I like that. Whatever. Okay. But yeah, okay. So that's them. Moving on to your point that Ja made his statement and all these teams make trades. Both notably, we'll start with the Mavericks adding Kyrie. Where do the Kyrie and LUKA rank on this tier list now?
I think they got to be ifs as well because you got to see like KD and Kyrie was a dynamic duo as well, but we saw what they did and didn't accomplish together.
Yeah, if it works, if they can build chemistry and all of that.
Yeah. They traded some of their depth, like some of their defense, some of their 3-point shooting, but Kyrie provides the offense at such a high level that it kind of makes up for some of it. But we saw that wasn't enough for the Nets, so I think it's an if. I think the Suns are an if too, just because we got to see a little bit.
Be honest now.
I do. I legitimately do.
You can't have everybody as if now.
With Chris Paul, you think they're a They For Real?
I know Chris Paul is there and how you feel about Chris Paul. But Booker showed in that last playoff run that he's legit.
Booker has shown it.
You know what KD is.
KD has shown not to stay healthy for several seasons now.
Who's saying?
I said KD has shown not to stay healthy for several seasons now.
Go ahead. Anything else want to add to that?
Chris Paul has shown not to stay healthy for several playoff seasons now. And he is not the same Chris Paul of old. This is like prime Chris Paul, I think for sure. Like prohibitive favorites automatically. Right now, for me, the Bucks and Celtics, I would still take over them confidently.
I put
they could still be like in the back end of they for real if you want.
I put
still got to see it.
I think the Bucks and the Celtics, yes, we'll place them properly in just a second. But I do think that the Suns are on that same tier. I think they're above the Clippers. Above.
Projecting for sure. I think they are in that caliber. They can be.
They have a team that clearly has designed itself wanting to get a ring. I think the new owner, when that ownership switched in, they put the call in. He's like, I want a ring. KD wants to be here. Give me KD. Let's go get a ring and make this happen. I think it was very clear what they want to do, and I think they're positioning themselves to do so. Yes, KD's out right now, but and healing himself and all of that. But I think this team, come playoff time, will be fully ready to make the push that they want to do. And to your point about if Chris Paul is hurt, even if Chris Paul does get hurt again, having now KD to fall back on, I guess, as well as D Book and Ayton, all the other guys that are already there, I think can make up for whatever Chris Paul may lack if there is some hindrance to him in a playoff run.
Like you just said, all the other guys that are there, there's really not all the other guys that are there because they had to trade away some of the depth to get Kevin Durant. They traded away their best two-way player in Mikal Bridges. They traded away a great six-man level player in Cam Johnson. What's his name? Jay Crowder is gone to the Bucks. They have campaign.
Was Jay even playing at all this season?
No, he wasn't. But that's another wing player, defensive player, experienced player that would help them on a championship run. Like, I think they have the talent, the top end talent with Booker and KD, no question. But I think they are slightly an if.
I think Torrey Craig is solid.
Exactly. You think Torrey Craig is solid. You don't know what you're going to
get. Baisley is solid. He wasn't doing a whole lot in OKC. That was OKC. We tried to.
Baisley is not getting run in the playoffs.
Huh?
Baisley is not getting run in the playoffs. You're gonna be relying on Okogie, Torrey Craig, and Campaign.
They added Terrence Ross,
Jock Landale or something like Biyombo. The rotation is short, and those guys at the top are gonna make up for the lack of depth, but they are lacking some depth there. They're gonna need all those guys to be clicking at all times.
I think enough is there, but I'll give you if.
If you think enough is there for real, I'm not mad at it. I think there's other teams I'm for sure like favoring over them still.
Okay. And then to that point, since we now have those finalized, the last four we have the Bucks, Celtics, Nuggets, and Sixers. All those four for real, or is anyone else?
Sixers are an if. It's if they beat their demons. Like if James Harden can be his playoff demons, if Doc Rivers could be his playoff 3-1 demons. Embiid, I don't think Embiid's made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
No, they blew that 3-1 to the Hawks, right? Or wherever that was.
They blew it to the Hawks. They lost to the Raptors. I think that was to go to the ECF, right?
I think you're right in that.
Okay. So right now, the Nuggets are the 1 seed, and I think they got the MVP favorite probably right now on their team. Yeah. They got some of their depth back with Jamal Murray being healthy, Michael Porter being healthy. Aaron Gordon was playing like a borderline all-star. They're still slightly an if to me, but I kind of want to give them the for real tag just because they are the number 1 seed in the West and have been playing at a high level.
Yeah,
I can see them as kind of an if, though.
The media reaction to them confuses me, and you just said that too. It's like they have been dominant all regular season long. Jokic has been a top 3 or has been an MVP back to back and is going for his 3rd, but it's like, oh, they don't have enough still, and they still, like, people still find reasons not to believe in them or say they're not legit yet. And I want to put them at the for real, and even if they don't achieve that, I still want to give them what they've earned at least for this moment. So sure, there's ifs. You can make an if for everybody if you wanted to. Sure. I think that there's been enough already that we've seen from them to say that they're a for real team. So I'm putting the Nuggets there with it. I agree with that. I think the Celtics have shown that they're legit for real. And the Bucks have something legit for real. There's ifs about both of them teams as well. But in comparison to everybody else, they're the most confident I'd be of the bunch there.
Looking at it, like you could say, like you just said, there's ifs about a lot of teams. So looking at it, I think having the top 2 in each conference makes sense to me. So I could see the Suns and they for real.
The Suns top 2 right now?
No, not right now. Not right now. The Suns are lower right now, but I think with KD they will improve.
Oh, if that's the case, go ahead and bump them Kings up, baby. Bump them Kings up.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like the 2 favorites in the West, 2 favorites in the East.
Got it. So you want to put Suns up now? So with that point you made? Okay.
And they for real?
Yeah.
And then I could see the Grizzlies in if. But it's a lot of ifs. It's like several ifs. Like if they get the right matchup, if the Suns and the Clippers play each other in the first round, so they knock each other out, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I'll put them in if. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I said that. I thought they for real might have been too high, but I thought LOL you thought was too low as well. I thought if was the right spot for them. So yeah, I'm cool with that. Anyone else that may be out of place, or if we're stamping this, do you think anyone can exceed what we have them placed at the rest of the way?
I don't know about the Knicks. The Knicks are plucky right now. I don't really see them being like an Eastern Conference Final team though.
I'm gonna say this, and I know it's a team that I've been talking about, and you can make jokes if you want to. I think the Kings, if they are the team that they've shown themselves to be all season long, if they continue that this back half of the regular season, they could build up some nice momentum going into the playoffs where they could actually surprise some folks, even up against some of the other top teams who they played throughout the year. I know there's a lot of new additions on certain teams, but they can put up a good fight against a lot of these teams and make a low-key push if things go in their direction. So they could be an F squad if things go right for them.
The thing for them is that if they are the team that we have seen this entire season, they're not gonna be able to stop anybody. That's the only issue, because I think they're a really high-powered offense, and they've been able to outscore a good amount of teams. And De'Aaron Fox has been great in the clutch. Sabonis has been great all around. It's been kind of Jokic light for them.
Right.
I think it's going to come down to stopping teams. So I could see them in a playoff spot. You said they can make a push. I think the push to be
just be out of the first round. They can
stay above play-in range, like to stay top 6.
Right.
Because some of these teams in the West just loaded up a bit.
Correct.
We're just staying in a solid playoff spot. I could see that for sure. Like I said, the Lakers are an X factor. I don't have a specific expectation for them at this point. Like I need
to jump all the way up. They could fall all the way down. Anything's possible with them. It's a mess there.
Low floor, high ceiling. I could see either way. I don't really see any stuck at a crossroads team. The Hawks made that like improbable run when they hired McMillan their first year.
Right.
So maybe they hire someone that really makes a difference in the locker room. And they make a decent run in the East, because the East is a little weaker now that trades have been made.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of movement.
With the Nets adding pieces that still are viable, and being up in the rankings already, is there a chance that they stay up there for the rest of the regular season and actually do cause some problems still in the East? Mikal is nice. Didn't he drop a 40 ball recently already?
Yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah, Cam is nice still. Spencer can hold it down at least a little bit, and we've seen what Nick Claxton is saying.
They're just missing the top end talent. Like they don't have any all-stars on that team.
They have one. He just don't play.
Oh, who?
Ben Simmons. He was an all-star, right?
Yeah, he's not an all-star.
He just don't play.
I think he had one all-star season, right? But
yeah, I meant he's been all-star before. That's what I meant. Yeah.
No, he's not a perennial all-star. I could see them being surpassed by the Knicks, maybe by the Heat. but I don't think they'll fall too much. I think they'll be in that 6 through 8 range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The East is not very strong after the top 4 or 5, if you include the Knicks in there.
Correct. Okay, and so you're good with everything that was stamped. I think everybody's going to play out the rest of the year as we have advertised here. Yeah. Any last comments then as we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty happy with where we have these teams. I'm excited to see some of these new fits with the trades that were made before the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the season closes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Excited to see how it plays out. I think as of this moment, All-Star break, this is a good place to stamp all these guys, all these teams. And I think we have them all in the right positions right now. I think adding in the one and done segment was a good section to add in there to differentiate a little bit in those teams that are there. I do agree. We'll stay in that type of spot. And yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out. As y'all can see, looking at the board in a literal sense, pretty much down there in the middle is the Lakers. We're going to talk more about the Lakers playoff push in a moment. I'm excited to get more into what's going to go on with them the rest of the way. But for now, yeah, I think that is it. And I'm cool with stamping this as it is. So I can even screenshot it real quick and mark this moment as of the All-Star break. We can revisit it later on and see. And all of that, we can even do a new one come playoff time and see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely good stuff here. I'm excited that we put it together. So appreciate y'all for tuning back in yet again. Like I said, we're going to revisit. We're going to come back talk more Lakers in just a moment. But another good discussion for you guys that we were excited to get for you. And yeah, continue to have more fun stuff on the way for you guys. So appreciate all the love. Let us know what you guys think about it in the comments and all of our social media platforms. Like, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff for us. And we out of here, man. Appreciate y'all. See y'all in a minute. Peace.
Deuces.